When your kids are all grown up, your holiday gatherings look different. You no longer get all your children's time. Instead, you only may get half of it as they split time with the in-laws. And sharing those moments and sharing your grandchildren, that can be a challenge. My next guest makes the point that being a grandparent during the holidays is uniquely tricky. Kids are at the center, parents have their roles, and we even understand what Santa's job is. But what is Nana's place in all of it? Studio 5 parenting contributor Heather Johnson is in studio with how we can grandparent well during the holiday season. Great to see you. Great topic. You know, people out there, grandparents out there, I'm just surmising, but they may be thinking and feeling and even saying things like, why aren't they coming to our house this year? They went to the in-laws last year, it's our turn. Or they might be saying, why do I always have to go to them? Why do we always have to show up at their house? And those are normal frustrations, but you say the very first thing we can do as we adjust our Nana outlook for holidays 2022 is to not make it about us.
We have to start there, right? This means that when they choose another grandparent's home to spend Christmas at, or when we're not going to get as much time as we want, that we can't decide that that means they don't love us, that's making it about us, or that they don't care to be with us, or that they don't like our traditions, or that we're not the fun enough grandma, which is really where our minds go if we're not really careful.
Because it does feel personal.
It does.
It is personal. We love these kids.
We do, we love them, but it only becomes personal, meaning we're not enough if we make it about us.
Okay.
There's a million other things that their decisions are based on, like taking a step back and realizing that they're juggling quite a bit, that they have a lot of obligations, that maybe they're looking to start their own traditions, that maybe we were in their position once and should remember what it felt like to do all of this juggling and cut them some slack. All of those things have as much to do with it as anything else. And so seeing it from that perspective will keep our relationship with them. But when we make it about us, we very quickly start to blame, which is what's really uncomfortable, right? We've probably heard this. All of a sudden it's, well, they're not going to be at our house, and so we need someone to blame because we don't want to feel yucky about it, like it's our fault or about us.
Right.
And so who do we usually blame? Well, we definitely don't blame our kids, and we definitely don't blame our grandkids. So that means our daughter's husband is probably doing this.
It's him.
Or his parents are being pushy.
It's them, yeah.
We immediately go to those spaces. And so whenever that blame steps in, now it's not just about the holidays. Now we go into January and we feel these things. And then we go into March and we still feel these things.
We carry them with us.
We carry them with us. So we're trying to not do that.
Okay, can I press you just a little bit? We put on our big girl pants and we have the right lens and we know all of that's true. It's not about me. And it still hurts.
It does.
It's still sad. Then what?
Well, we can have those things both coexist. We can look at it and realize, because grandparenting is a very tricky space to be in. You have all these hopes and dreams and thoughts, and you've even created images of what you hope this time in your life looks like. And then you kind of get to sit around and wait to see how other people are going to use their agency and if it's going to support your hopes and dreams or if it isn't, right? We dream about the holidays and we think, I want to do this with my grandkids. And then we actually just have to sit around and wait to see if our kids call and say, by the way, we're going to be at your house so you can do those things you hope to do. It's a really uncomfortable place to sit sometimes.
Yeah.
And so we got to let them come together. And we do that by having that right lens, by recognizing, of course, I would want my grandkids here every day, all day, forever. And also, they have other grandparents. And also, our kids are trying to form their own traditions. And also, they're grown adults making best decisions for their families.
It feels like the perfect soup, one of those situations where you really have to dig deep and draw up that character and that perspective and the fact that we all want the best for everyone involved. You say another actionable thing we can do, at least from a mental perspective or a mind shift perspective, is to define your role in this moment.
We do. We want to define that role. And when we define that role, we want to make sure that we recognize our job, or the job of a grandma and a grandpa, is to be supportive. That's their job. Their job is to support. Now, we tend to hear support as grandparents, something like this in our head. Support is, well, how can I get them to be here for Christmas and support them? How can I get more time with them to support them?
I'll support them in the walls of my own home.
I'll support them right here in the way that I want to do it, doing all of our favorite traditions and rituals.
Yeah.
That's not what support looks like. That's having an agenda and hoping that we can make that agenda or control things in a way that gets that to happen
That's
for
control.
us. It is. We want to support it, which means support is actually, how can I support that this is the decision that my grown kids have made for their family? How can I support my grandkids and have a relationship when they're not going to be in our home this holiday season? That's what support looks like. Support is buoying up parents who are making really hard choices. And maybe we even remember that. I mean, I remember my parents talking about needing to visit all the people and make sure that it was comfortable. And those are hard things to decide. Support isn't what I want to control. Support is genuinely looking at the decisions our kids kids make, and finding a way that we can be a teammate with that instead of guilting them or shaming them over those choices.
Gratitude has a part in this conversation, no surprise.
Always. Gratitude has a part in everything that we do. The beautiful thing about gratitude is that it eradicates comparison. And so instead of, is she more fun than me as a grandma? Do they spend more time there? And comparing everything. Gratitude allows us to take a step back and focus on being grateful for any time we spend instead of focusing on time spent only at the holidays. It doesn't matter when we spend time with them. It doesn't have to be in December. Choose March. Get creative. Choose a month that nobody cares about. But being grateful for the time we do have instead of focusing on, well, we're not going to see them this year, or we won't see them for Thanksgiving. Put your energy into when you will see them.
And again, that takes character because Christmas is special for everyone. March doesn't feel special, right? Christmas is special for grandma and for mom and for the kids. Everyone feels that specialty. And so it's natural. I can see where you'd want to kind of be part of that.
You want that until we make March special. Until we decide to turn it into something that's meaningful. And now everyone is actually really, really excited to connect during March.
So we can get creative.
We can do any of that, and we can get really creative with the way that we imply these things, the way we work with our families. But when we make things about us, we can't be creative. We can't see solutions. We can't have empathy for other families or for our children. We forget we were in this position once. We forget that our kids are trying to do the best that they can as grown adults to create their own traditions and their own memories.
What does the conversation sound like then, Heather? Grandma to adult daughter. Like, how do I open that dialogue? Do I express any expectation? Do I state any hope or dream toward a plan or a certain ideal?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with letting them know, hey, we would always love to see you for the holidays, and know that our door is always open. And your dad and I will support whatever decision you make. And we know that you've got a lot of obligations to juggle on your end. Let us know which direction you're headed. And that puts a very safe space in front of them to go, oh, well, I know that whatever decision I make, I'm really going to get supported.
There was no emotional pressure with that.
There isn't. When we look at these holidays, we want to consider what they really want from us, our adult children and our grandchildren. Our grandchildren don't want tension between their grandparents and their parents. Our children don't want to feel guilty because they make decisions that are best for their family. They don't want to feel like when they call us to tell us about that decision when we're grandparents, that we then are going to pout or sulk or make it about us.
Yeah.
They want to know that when they make those calls that we support it, that we're willing to look at them and say, hey, I know you're doing the best that you know how for your family, and I'm here for it.
And big picture, you say this points to legacy. These types of situations, scenarios, these conversations will shape your legacy as a Nana.
They will, and they will shape the legacy that we leave with our grandchildren. Remember, that's the relationship we're really focused on here. We can build a legacy and leave that behind with them when we focus on that value system that we subscribe to. If we look at those values, contention doesn't make our list, right?
Let's hope not.
And being at odds during the holidays, that doesn't make our list either. So again, to take a step back, we really do have to function from a place of, how can I connect with these grandkids even if they're not here? Even if I don't love the decisions their families are making.
Right.
And that needs to be our legacy. Imagine that being something that your grandkids always know about you, whether it's March or December.
Yeah.
We want them to know those things.
It's an open heart approach. Thank you, Heather. Great words, timely words. We are going to be back with Heather later in the show to talk about a place you can go to find more of her parenting help. I'm really excited about this. Thank you very much.